Alright, so Lijiang Tower. So, as far as hero picks go on this map, tanks, because you said you were playing tank, right? Yeah, flex tank.
I wish I had hands.
As far as tanks go, I really think that main tanks should only play Ryan. Ryan, in my opinion, is just a really good pick here. And then for off tank, either D.Va or Zarya, mostly because Roadhog is kind of trash right now. And you get so much more value out of the D.Va and the Zarya. So let's see what you're going to pick. Just skip ahead a bit, I guess. So Zarya D.Va, it's not great, but let's see if you changed. Yeah, you went Reinhardt. So right here, let's see. Your team is Reinhardt, D.Va, Moira, Brigitte, and Mei. Soldier is kind of... he doesn't really fit in with the team very much. He's just kind of like the hit scan that's going to be there in case Brigitte is... no, in case Pharah is on the enemy team. But as far as the rest of your team comp goes, you have some pretty good close quarter synergy. So you're going to not want to go for the bridge. You're going to want to go for the close quarter combat in the right room. Because right now, if they do have a Pharah or a Pharmacy, you only have Soldier that's going to be able to deal with him and deal with them, and it's going to tear you guys apart normally. However, if you go on the right side, you're going to be in close quarters. Your Brigitte is going to get a lot more healing. Your Moira is going to get a lot more healing. Your shield is going to be a lot more impactful, and your Mei should get a lot more freezes. So let's see what happens. God damn it. I don't know how to use this pen. There we go. Soldier's going right side, you're going left side, okay. So there is a Pharah. Alright. So right now we really don't want to be peeking too far outside of the point, we want to be camping at the point. Yeah, okay. So, with Rhine, you can get some really good charges, you can get some great damage done if you just keep spamming left click. However, you have to remember that there's a time and place for everything, and right now the thing to do is to be protecting your team, so your DPS and your support, just holding up your shield. For me personally, in a situation like this, I would only be damage dealing with my Fire Strike, otherwise I'd just be holding shield, unless someone was really up in my face, in which case I would just swing the hammer. Especially with a Pharah outside, like I would not leave the point. Your Brigitte got a nice kill on the D.Va, nice kill on Lucio, and your Soldier got the Pharah, so when Pharah's out of the game, your team has a really good advantage, I believe. And so that fight went your way, that's good.
Good question.
Oh, I'm right there in the tea house. He's in tea house.
So here what I would be doing is I would be standing I'd be standing right here with my shield up, like that we can actually see what's going on the enemy team. Because right now we are unsure if they're coming through the bridge or if they're going around the side, which could be a bad surprise for you. So remember, you have a 2000 HP shield, don't be afraid to use it, and get some reconnaissance like that. So here with your Mei, because I don't think she really knows what she's doing, you could have told her to stay on the side over here, and to just try and wall off the Reinhardt, like get him alone, and then you could charge into him and it'd be fine. That's just kind of like a shot calling thing, but it's not too important. So right now you should be shielding. You should be shielding your teammates. All your teammates are alone over here, you're standing over here, and the Reinhardt just managed to charge in. Thankfully the Brigitte managed to stun them, however your team is still left unprotected.
Well, I got it. Nice.
So it ended up working out for you. Kind of lucky that you managed to get the pin. But I mean, I guess, hey, you can say it was all skill.
Oh, that dude was killed.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
Okay. Unlucky. So right now again, oh boy.
Oh, that Sombra. You saved
Okay.
me. Oh, just kidding. Okay, okay.
Alright, so it was an interesting play. It almost worked out. However, you should have just been standing there with your shield trying to block that shatter, because he hadn't shattered the entire game, so you knew he had shatter, and he was probably going to be very greedy with it. So should have been expecting that.
I'm coming back
But it was still a good idea to charge him into the rock.
in a little bit. Protect our Moira, guys.
So maybe if you had shielded the shatter and then charged into the rock, that would have been ideal. But, I mean, you only lost one person, and you killed one person, so it's alright for now. So here you should be shielding again. D.Va is shooting straight through, probably looking at your teammates. So your teammate's taking free damage, which means the D.Va is getting ult charge for free. So you just want to be standing there with your shield. Here's another situation with the Pharah, where you don't want to be too overextended. So you have to make sure you know where she is, and if you see that she's playing really aggressive like right now, you might want to back off more onto the point, like that she cannot get such free poke.
Sombra top right.
Yeah, like that.
Sombra, I got ult.
Gun down. I'm dead.
Ah, damn.
So once again, right now you should be shielding. Actually, Pharah just ulted, so you're probably going to shield that. Yeah, alright.
Good pick, guys.
Okay, so that's a one map. Nice job.
Yes, walk into the blizzard.
Up.
Oh, we gotta go
Really
shift
the
the
only way.
Lucio.
Let's hope you don't lose this because of a shatter.
Fair is down.
This is good. Alright, you won that.
Enemy contact. Score 1-0.
Now show them.
I live for a good fight.
Hey,
Hello.
Alright, so in this map, once again, just like before, you're going to want to prioritize going into the close quarter combat, so obviously go straight and then to the right. But yeah.
Good map to go left.
Alright, good.
We can switch things.
Okay, where are you going? Alright.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so here, I don't want you to be swinging. I just want you to be holding your shield up.
Platinum hat that can kill me.
Yeah, now you're purple, and you're gonna die, because there's a summer behind you. So, right here, you got really aggressive, which, I mean, can be a good thing. Except that you had charged earlier, right? So you had a lot of distance on your team. When you were up here hammering them, your team was probably only back here, like they were not with you. And on top of that, you can deal a lot of DPS, like I said, but it's not your primary focus. If you manage to hold your shield and let your team do all the damage, then that's going to be more beneficial, because you're going to have more ultimates spread out through the team. And, of course, you're not going to get Anna grenaded in the face.
We can switch things around. If we want to.
Junkrat on the left side there. Platinum hat that can't kill anything.
Yeah, and then the Pharah, those behind, the Sombra, those behind you fucked you up.
Ooh,
They both.
okay.
If it's
Okay.
Anna, it's gonna be giving us a lot of trouble.
So that's alright. Here you just want to regroup. Hopefully that happens. Yeah. Okay, let's see your team. So the Moira just switched to... The Brigitte switched... No? Okay. Soldier switched to Junkrat, which is good. Junkrat's a good pick here. May, I don't know. I don't really like May. She can be alright, though. Brigitte and Anna are okay as well. I don't really like Anna too much on this map. I'd much prefer a Moira. Just because her orbs can bounce around everywhere and get a lot of efficiency off of that. And the tanks are still fine. If your diva was able to play Zarya, that would be ideal, but they're gold, so maybe not. It's a more complex hero. Alright, that's okay. Just be standing back and getting fire strikes.
Follow the Rhine guy.
Follow the Rhine, good idea. Okay. Yeah, so self-evident. I think you learned that on your own. Don't charge in there like that. Against, let's see, what do they have again? Well, against a Junkrat and a Sleeper. Yeah, just don't dive into that team into close quarters.
And he has
Once again, you really want to just be holding your shield and walking forward and letting your team do all the damage. However, when you're pushing and the enemy team has this area, or this area, or this area up here, it's actually much better to be pushing around here. You have a lot more space to actually do things. Because when you're going up here, they're able to focus all of their fire into one single hallway and just slaughter you. Granted, I did say earlier that you want to be choosing the closest quarter areas. However, when you are attacking, this is no longer the case because the defending team is going to have the advantage in this situation. So going around the left on attack, or... No. Going around the left is pretty much always the better idea on this map at this point. Get out of here. So there you see a trap. Yeah, okay. So if I remember correctly, somebody said that Junkrat has their tire. So that means that you're going to want to save your fire strike for that tire. You're not going to hit it every single time, but if you can hit that tire, that could be game winning. Because the fire strike is a one-shot kill on the tire. Okay then. So yeah, you should have just waited there with the fire strike, but whatever. Also, when the Moira was focusing her fire down this way, she's probably not just using it to do damage. She's probably telling her team to go hard to engage onto this area, meaning that the rest of their team is going to swiftly follow up and start attacking your team. Hence, you want to be here, right where you are, but with your shield up. Instead, you walked away, which granted would have given you a chance to kill the tire. But in the ideal situation, I think just standing there with your shield would have been more ideal. Alright, right now you just really want to be grouping up. You want to be telling your diva to fall back. Because you're only two people there, you have no healers, so, yep. So they're just Fire Strike into the hallway. You want to use Fire Strike whenever it's on cooldown, off cooldown.
I'm gonna die anyway.
Your Brigitte is very low and suicidal, but whatever. So, we saw...
I'm gonna die anyway.
We saw Sombra there, right? That was right there in the doorway. There, right there. Bright purple. That should have alerted you that Sombra was there, and to watch out for getting hacked. So you ignored her, got hacked, and then died. Or did you die? I actually don't know. I didn't see this. Okay, no, you didn't die. But it was a dangerous situation. So here, I do not want you to be charging. Okay, that was alright. It was just a charge into a small wall. And here, once again, Yeah, just shield. Yeah, no, not charging. When you are nanoed, your charge is going to deal like 450 damage rather than 300, so cool. However, that really doesn't change much for against many heroes. Instead, you really just want to be swinging your hammer and using Fire Strike, because instead of 75 damage, it's going to be 70 damage. It's going to be dealing like 100 something, which is essentially like a Genji's blade. So you just want to be standing there, swinging your hammer, because like you see, there's at least 2 people here. I think there's a third person. There's at least 2 people here, and I think there's a third person over here. So if you were just peeking around this corner right here and swinging your hammer, using your Fire Strike, because you do have Fire Strike off cooldown, then I think you would have gotten a lot more value out of the nano. So here you do start swinging, you're hacked again. Fuck Sombra. Alright. On top of that, you did have your shatter over here, did you? You almost had your shatter. So you could have just gone for one single swing, and then shatter, and then hammer down. Especially because we were at 99% for the enemies, and 0% for us. It was the very last fight. You really wanted to be able to get that shatter off as soon as you could before you died. So that's going to be a lost map, I think. I see your off tank and main and support swapped roles. So the issue here with the team comp is that you have 2 main healers, right? And that's okay if your team has a very large health pool. Hold on. That's okay if your team has a very large health pool, like if you're running a goats comp, or if you had a bunch of DPS with 250 HP. However, you don't really have that much health, so it would have been ideal if one of these main healers, in my opinion, preferably the Ana, went Lucio or Brigitte or something like that. Other than that, I'm actually going to point out one last thing. Let's see if I can get... Alright, so another good pushing route here is, instead of just going straight onto point, to actually just go this way, right? Because earlier we talked about how you don't want to be we talked about how you don't want to be going through here, due to the fact that they're going to have a big advantage since it's a very small hallway. However, once you get through and you're at the pillars over here, and you see that the enemy team is all here, you might as well just go up here, because then you're going to be having the high ground. You do have a Junkrat who's going to be able to shoot everybody from there, and it's going to be really good for your Junkrat. And you can just kind of like hold that high ground until your team decides to push in onto the point. So that's just kind of like another little strategy that you could use on this point. Alright, so here you have 2 secondary healers and a primary. Okay. I would suggest not going Orisa, but whatever. If you feel that you would be playing better as Orisa, that's it's up to you. So here my issue with this team comp is mostly on the DPS. where we don't have any long range hit scan. Where on this map, there's a lot of long range areas. There's a lot of good spots for long range hit scans, whether it's Soldier, whether it's McCree, whether it's Widowmaker. That would be much better than a Mei and a Junkrat. However, of course, if you're going this team, it's a very brawl team. Then you're obviously going to be you are going to want to be in close quarters. So probably just going straight onto the point. Except you would want a Reinhardt with this composition, right? Because you want to be mobile. You have a Lucio. Hold on. Sorry, I'm sick. Sick as fuck. You have a Lucio, you have a Brigitte, you have a Moira for healing. You want to be a semi-mobile team, right? So you want that Reinhardt so you can keep moving around the shield because you don't want to be focusing all of your heroes behind one shield or anything like that. But let's see what you manage to do with the Orisa.
And I'm the only people left?
So obviously rushing straight on point is ideal.
I could switch.
We don't have to.
Fine,
Okay, so with shield placement on Orisa,
Reinhardt on the left.
you want to make sure that you're getting the most value out of it as possible, right? No one's using your shield right now.
I'm back.
So if we go back, for me, at this point, because we don't really know if the enemy team is coming through here.
Fine. I could switch.
Hold on a second.
We don't have to.
We don't really know if the enemy team is coming through. God damn it, I can't pause the goddamn game.
We don't have to.
Oh, there we go. We don't know if the enemy team is coming through here or coming through here. Granted, we just saw the Junkrat, so we can assume that they were coming from there. Except we now know that they were indeed just flanking. So for me, the ideal shield at this moment would be right here, more or less. So that you can kind of protect yourself from this door and from these doors. So instead, you put it here, alright? You have Hammond, you have Mei, who are currently standing in front of the shield, and then you are also standing in front of the shield. Nobody's using the shield, essentially.
On the left.
So it was one wasted shield.
I'm back.
Here, you have your pool, you have your mini graviton surge. You could just try to pull him off through here, right? You could at least attempt it. Granted, that works as well, but like, you know, it would be fancy. Once again, you placed a shield and nobody's using it. Then again, you won the fight, so it's alright, I guess. Okay. Once again, you placed a shield and no one's using it, but you got a kill. It's alright.
Sombra on the right. Got her.
But don't be afraid to be aggressive with your shields, because what I'm saying right now is that your shield placement is... Your logic for shield placement is, I'm standing here, so I'm going to put it... I'm standing here, so I'm going to put it right in front of my feet, because that will protect me. Except you don't think ahead, you don't think, where am I going to go? Like right here, what would have been ideal is if you shot it more over here. Like that, you wouldn't have any danger of being slept by Anna, or whatever else was happening there. Of course, it turned out fine, so whatever. But like, that's just a side note. Let's see where you place the shield. Once again, you're not shielding your teammates, and you're not... The shield's pretty much useless right now. The Mei wall was more useful than your shield. Alright, now we're using your shield a little bit better. Let's see. Yep, that's wasted shield. That's another wasted shield.
No!
Nice kill.
So dumb.
And you didn't get on, so yeah. Yeah, just jump off the map. So that was like 2 or 3 wasted shields. I think just 2 in a single team fight. So let's see. Where's the first death? First death is D.Va against a Tracer. That's because Tracer was caught off guard. She was flanking and fucked up. Next death.
Focus Reinhardt, guys.
We're trying to look at preventable deaths here. Okay, next death was Lucio, wherever he is, I can't really tell. Oh boy. We have Hammond, we have whoever this is, we have Mei, who's kind of like getting ready to leave the shield. All not being protected by a shield. Whereas they have, I think that's a D.Va, they have probably a Reinhardt somewhere over here, and a bunch of DPS, right? This shield shouldn't be here, it should be over here, right? Not necessarily at the door, but right in front of the door. Like that people can be using it, because this shield is wasted and it's not helping anybody. Because right now what I'm saying is that you're using your shield to treat yourself as a turret. You're imagining yourself as a turret that stays in one spot and just shoots from the corner, which can work in some strategies, but right now you need to be protecting your team with it. Right. Okay, we know how this ends.
Installing updates.
Let's see. So here we know, if I remember correctly, they have a Lucio. I think they have a Junkrat. Let's see if you hit tab. Let's see, what do they have?
Jumps in the center, so be careful. He's gonna log.
That's a shame.
I got the Moira, guys.
Okay, so that was decent play from you. It's just that we should have recognized that 2 people died immediately, so we shouldn't be fighting there. But other than that, whatever. So right here you did something good that I want to point out because I haven't seen you do it in other situations.
Jumps in the center, so be careful.
Is using your little grav to keep people on the opposite side of your shield, right? Right there. You saw that he was coming a little bit too close to you, so you just launched him to the other side. However, on this point, let's see, what do they have? They have a Junkrat. They have a Moira, so kind of spammy, kind of not. What do they have? Yeah, I'm just focusing on the Junkrat, really. And they have 2 primary healers. They have 2 primary healers. You have a primary and a secondary. So you have less healing on your team. Also, you have a Winston. Winston is completely useless right now. He should not have gone useless. That's useless. He should not have gone Winston. That's not really a good pick. However, because you have less healing than the enemy team, that means that if you're going to be poking each other in a choke, the enemy team is going to win, because you're not going to be able to kill them as fast as they can kill you, right? Unless you get really lucky. So, instead of pushing where you did on top... Instead of pushing where you did, you should have just pushed... What are you going? Wrecking Ball. Okay. So it seems like you want to go dive with this guy. I would not suggest it. I would have suggested to tell him to swap onto D.Va or Zarya. But earlier you should have pushed from here. Because you're going to have... let's see if we can get a better angle. You have this wall over here, right? And 2 entrances. This means that your team can utilize this wall, if ever they're low, to fall back a little bit and to get some healing before they go back in. And you also have 2 entrances rather than the 1 entrance you had over here. Meaning that the Junkrat cannot spam all of his damage in one doorway, he's going to have to split it up between the both doorways, and he's going to be less effective like that. Along with that, you have a Lucio. So what you can do is you can be pushing up through here, right? And then if you see that that isn't working, Lucio speed boosts and quickly moves you to the other door, and then you just dive in, right? And then you are on the point, you're with the enemy on the point, you might have some kind of advantage. Afterwards, you'd have to go from there. But I feel that pushing from here with your team comp would have been much more beneficial than pushing from the staircase. So let's see what happens here, because I am intrigued. So you're kind of going for a flank. I imagine you were hoping to boop someone off, but it didn't work out. Oh, that's unlucky. Alright, that's just unlucky.
He's one.
He's down, I got him.
That wasn't a bad mentality to have, just, you know, didn't work out.
Sombra's one.
So here, you want to be getting to the point as fast as possible. Just use your grappling hook on this, right? And you just stay connected for like half a second, and you're going to get a huge speed boost. You're going to get back to the point like 3 seconds in advance.
Sombra's one. Main. I'm hacked.
And you would have your grappling hook. It's not a grappling hook. You would have the hook back by the time you got to the point. Here you should be meleeing more. Your punches will go through a shield. So if you're unable to shoot the Rhine because he's just spinning around with his shield and not letting you touch him with your bullets, just punch him. That's 30 damage each time. So in that span of like 2 seconds that you were fighting him and you were not getting much damage, you got some damage right there. You could have punched him 1 or 2 times and he would have died because he was very low. Hey, that's a nice boop.
I'm on it.
Okay, so you have the point.
Okay, I have Blizzard.
Enemy's at 99%, so 1 lost fight and it's over. You're about to have Hammond Ultimate. With Hammond Ultimate, you might know this, but if you don't, you want to be as high as possible in the air on the point before using it.
They probably have nano though.
So like, you grapple here, you get as high as possible, you ult, and then you use your, this thing. I don't know what it's called.
You gotta be careful with that.
But once again, Hammond and Winston is not a tank duo that I would recommend on this map. So even with playing everything correctly, you might lose just because you have an inferior composition. Okay. You almost got him. Oh boy. Oh, that's sad. So that's probably going to be a loss, yeah. Alright. Let's see. However, in that last team fight, you saw what fucked you was the D.Va and the Sombra using their ultimates together. And that is one thing that I never saw your team do, is coordinate ultimates. Granted, here, you don't really have any ult synergy right now, but you might have had some ult synergy earlier on, so you need to make sure that you're comboing ultimates to get a lot more effectiveness out of them. Outside of that, I think if you had stuck with Ryan D.Va, or Ryan D.Va, whoever was playing D.Va, you would have had a better time. Yeah, so on your Reinhardt, the general consensus is just shield more. Only deal damage if the enemy is really right up in your face, or if you see a really good opportunity. But if you just keep shielding your teammates more, your teammates are going to be a lot more effective. I have a friend who's a Reinhardt main. He's always complaining that his teammates are never getting kills and shit like that. Except he's kind of like a DPS Reinhardt. He's always like, I have 4 golds and shit like that. Except his issue is that since he's always dealing damage, he's not protecting his team. And because he's not protecting his team can't deal the damage that they're supposed to be dealing. So if he just held up his shield a bit more, a similar case for you, then the rest of your team will be a lot more effective. Once again, about this Winston, it would have been ideal if you had noticed it and told him to swap off, because it really was not a great pick. Winston ain't gonna do shit here. Other than that, it seems fine. Good luck on your climb, and I hope this was helpful for you.